Inside and out, I died a million times. Somewhere beautiful
Well, let's see what damage we can do on this piece. Let me bring it up to you. I'll bring it up to your level with a horrible, horrible accent. That's the rolling R accent. So right now I'm drawing a little flower. Drawing a little flower for all 10 of you that are watching. I'm gonna draw 10 flowers for all of you. And if you join my club, I'll send one off to you in the mail. It'll be quite nice. But first you gotta send me all of your gold. I love gold. I've been drawing since I was a kid. Had my head in notepads my entire childhood. Tried to fit in with the other kids. Literally. Took the skin of one. Wore the skin for about 3 years before the family found out that I was not who I said I was. But that was the 80s. It was a different time. People were much more relaxed back then about that kind of stuff. Hey, Jordan. Hello, Savage. Who's Saint what? Huh? I don't, believe in holidays, dude. Holidays believe in me, bro. What's a me, bro? I don't know, but I like saying it. I think it's like a sombrero, but like for like a personalized one or something, like amoeba. Sounds like an amoeba. Sounds like a protozoan. Perhaps it could be, right? Yeah. How's everybody else doing? What's the world like out there, Savage? How's the world treating you? How's your St. Patrick's Day celebrations going tonight? So far, so good over here on the Western Front. I'm as far west as you can get, practically, on the without getting into the dipping your toes into the water. Just adding little flowers. Oh, that's almost where you can't even see it. Where? Okay, where's a good place to draw? Right there, right here. There we go. I keep the green. I certainly have green on. Hey, there you go. You're dealing with the police. What do you mean? You're in a casino and you're dealing like blackjack with the police? You're playing blackjack with the police? Is that legal? I'm calling the cops. I think everybody needs to sit down and take a deep breath. Savage, you need to elaborate. No, you don't. You don't need to do anything. I just like saying things. But I did want to talk about the importance of recycling today, friends. As the world suffers and is burned up, the ozone layer. Remember that? Does anybody remember the ozone layer? Won't somebody think of the ozone? And that's actually where we get the Ozarks, because that's back in the 80s. The ozone layer kind of just like took a dump, and it collapsed, and it fell into like one area of the world, and it was the Ozarks, oddly enough, and evenly enough, because you can't have one without the other. It's the great balance of life, friends. That's what art is all about. That's what the dream is. Got to keep it alive before it kills you. Oh gosh. Which it has done to me 3 times today already. Luckily, I'm on my 9th life, and I always keep a spare in my back pocket. Whoa, there you go. I just read your comment, Savage, and I have a bubble in my throat. Can you hear it? I have a bubble in my throat. It's gone. Okay, well, I'm sorry about the criminal mischief. Now what you said makes perfect sense. I mean, you got right to the point. Yeah, I don't like. I was raised by a cop, so I could I would be okay going the rest of my life without having to deal with them at all, and that's why I don't give them an excuse to fuck my life over. Because cop is having a bad day, and they can screw your life over royally. If you're, I don't know. I'm a very manipulative little fellow because I was raised by a cop and I had to get away with things. I knew what the consequences were, and I still understand the consequences to this day. So if I'm gonna do something, a little ornery, a little mischievous, a little dangerous, maybe, a little awful, a little really just inhuman, just awful, just awful. I really prep for it. I do my homework. I dot my I's and I cross my T's. Um, I build a website. I do a 3-dimensional map of the premises. I walk through it in my sleep, blindfolded backwards. I tell you that much, and I tell you that if you're interested, you can pay me later. But I do hold courses on how to do this as well, live on the internet as I'm doing it. As I'm. Oh shit! I'm not drawing where you can see. I get lost. I just get so lost in the art. Well, I hope the rest of your night is going okay, Savage, and you're safe. Anyways, it's never fun. I have a lot of criminals in my family, and I used to do some crazy ass shit when I was young where I can't believe I'm still in prison to this day. Okay, the 80s and the 60s were a terrible time to be creative because Well, the 60s, you would think that it was going to be full of light and love and latitude and all that kind of stuff. But no, it wasn't. And the 80s, similar. I just dropped the pen. And the 80s was sort of similar. But I can't articulate it. Otherwise, that's going to cost everybody watching 50 cents more. So I'm just going to keep to myself and lie my way through life. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Well, by the way, you share what you will on the chat, but just know that it is being recorded by the YouTube court clerk, and I would recommend not sharing too much info, but that's totally up to you, Sabosh. That's what I say. Like when I like do stuff on here, I like never tell the truth. Never. I really do. I mean, I never lie. It's the internet. I never lie. That's what I meant to say. I'm a little goat, you know. You know. I'm just trying to distract you from what I just said. Yeah, is it working? You don't lie. And I don't lie. Then we cannot lie together. In a sea of webs and lies and deceit, under the ocean, you and me. A class D felony, one bad and didn't do. Sorry, that's my self-defense mechanism most of the time. Is I was gonna say humor, but then I have to correct myself and say horribly bad humor, out of bad taste humor. Lo siento to my English and Spanish speaking friends, and English speaking friends who barely know any Spanish, but they like having just like 2 or 3 phrases at their disposal. That way it seems like they understand Spanish when they really don't, in a room full of Mexicanos. All right, that's all I have to say about that. I am one of those people too, by the way. Caucasian as they come. But a little bit different, it's like, I just don't even know how to put it. I'm not your typical whitey. I'm pretty. I mean, I'm white. I'm stereotypically white, very very white, but not no 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 not like, not regular white, like off white or something, like off brand. I met one with my Caucasianness and my little. Look at my little lizard skin, my little tinfoil lizard skin. What the hell's going on? How in the hell did I get here? What dimension is this again, Terry?
No, this is 6. This is 6 story.
Oh, this is 6. I didn't know that. I thought this was 3.
Yeah, not that's 6.
Yep. Okay, so that's it's 2005.
Yep, it is. It's 2005.
Okay, 2000. Wait. So that was 20. It's 20. We're talking to the people from 20 years in the future now.
Right. Yes. I'm a little bit confused, story. I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what day it is and what the year is and all that.
Right. It's 2025. In Dimension 6, it's 2025. In Dimension 3, it's 2005.
Thanks, Terry. Your voice sounds awful, by the way.
Oh, thank you, story. Yeah. Over.
Terry's my producer. He's the love of my life. My life is in Hades, and he's gonna go try to find it.
I was alone, looking for a goddamn home. I was on fire. The night I was alone.
used to be able to just sit down and write an entire album in an afternoon. Back in Idaho, I had an entire room devoted to recording music, and I took advantage of that room quite a bit. And it got to be quite an addiction too, just being able to like construct your own songs and play all the parts. And actually, we used to have band rehearsals down there too. It was a very, very small room, and there was like 7 dudes in my band at one point. Oh, those were the days. It's frustrating being in bands for me because it just is. But I don't really like performing, to be honest. But it was always fun when it was always, because basically you rehearse for like 3 months to play a half an hour set at a bar when everybody's outside smoking cigarettes, and it was just like I'd rather be home working on art or making music if that's. But everybody's like, no, that's what you gotta do. You gotta get out there and play it. I'm like, why do you have to? I don't gotta do shit. I gotta just make art. That's my jam. It's not like rehearsing for months and then everybody gets drunk, but because I don't drink, and my bandmates get all wasted and they mess up the songs anyways. And we've been rehearsing for 4 months, and they, the classic thing where you get on stage and everything changes. Like the drummer just speeds it up or slows everything down, or he's so drunk he can't even remember like what song is what, and you're just like, what the fuck? We've been rehearsing this for like a year to play a 20-minute set. But yeah, no, I mean I like performing, but then because like I was gonna say, there was just those moments where everything, when you're on stage and like you're in the middle of a song or something and it just is working and it sounds wonderful, to you, and those moments where it just like clicks, and god dang, it doesn't matter if anybody's watching or not. It's just that's just a magical thing when people can. It's a magical thing to me that people can come together and do what they do creatively, especially in bands or under, with music anyways. When people collaborate, it's just another fucking language. And it's just such an immediate thing. It just makes you feel something right away. And something that you'll never forget too. Like I remember there's a lot of songs that I've been listening to that pop on the algorithm or whatever when I'm listening to a mix or something or whatever. And there's songs like the Doobie Brothers, and it's like listen to the music. And I remember being a kid and hearing that song on the radio a lot as we were like driving around and in Northern California, like up in the desert, kind of in the country and stuff. And I remember thinking like everybody in the world must think that music is as important as I do, because even from a very early age I was like way into music, and I used to just like sing when I was like, as soon as I could talk I was like singing and singing to the radio and singing songs, like apparently my mom told me. And it's just always been there, and I guess music was in my mom's side of the family too. My grandpa was a musician, and my mom plays the banjo and the ukulele and stuff. But anywho, yeah, so it was just like bound to happen. But I love the idea of this, or not the idea. I love the act of recording, because it's very, to me it's very, it's like sculpting when you put a song together, especially when you do it from scratch. It's just, and the end product, if it works, it's just quite a good feeling. I've been itching to get out and play music here though. It's so weird here. I don't know where anybody plays or meets. And of course, I'm not like super social anyways. But even just to play solo, I wouldn't mind doing that if I just knew who to ask. But I've almost been here a year now, and I don't have any friends still. And of course, I'm not blaming that on anybody but me. I'm super. It's not that I'm antisocial, even. It's just because I've tried, but I just, I'm at a point in my life where I can't hang around. There's this line in this TV show called Firefly. If you're familiar with it, you probably know the line. But there's an episode where they go to this planet, and there's this. They go to like a ball, and Kylie and the captain are like going to this dance and stuff, and Kylie is like being insulted by these like rich girls who are like wearing these pretty dresses, and Kylie's wearing like Kaylee, I think, yeah, Kaylee. She's wearing a like a store bought dress, even though it's super cute. The other people are making fun of her, these ladies, and this dude comes up out of nowhere and like insults the ladies, and they walk off, and she's like, "Oh, thank you for standing up for me," and he was like, and his line was, "I cannot abide useless people." And I just think that's the best freaking line ever. I cannot abide useless people. And I'm at that point in my life where I can kind of sniff them out right away. At least for you know, what I'm needing as far as social nourishment, whatever that looks like. But I know what it doesn't. I know what it's not. And I'm trying to get away from people who just, you know, drag me down, which means I'm alone all the time. So just yeah. Sometimes you just gotta be alone. Plus, it's like, hey, do you want to meet somebody or something? Yeah. Do you want to go on a date? Yeah, sure. Do you want to come to my place and draw? No. Let's go to like a movie or something. No, I'm gonna go home let's go to my place and you can just well, you can draw with me or you can just watch me draw. It's so silly. Who's gonna want to just sit there and do that? That's insane. I would call the cops on myself before I made somebody do that. I got a new phone case today. Savage. You better be careful. Remember, everybody, we've all got a little stardust in us. Sometimes you got to call out the gods within your DNA. Stand up for yourself and say, "Golly gosh darn dang, universe, I'm here, and I have no fear." Do 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 do. It's hard sometimes, It's hard to be one of us humans. But you know what ain't hard? Love. No, I'm just playing. That's the hardest of them all. Such a loaded word. Love. And different versions of it exist too. Different levels, different versions. Absolute craziness. But it'll never stop me from seeking it out or wishing it upon other people. Love, compassion, patience. Today I tried this thing where there were some crazy people driving today out there, and I got like cut off like really bad and weirdly a few times, but even just a few days ago, the other version of me would be so freaking angry and, practically chase people down and stuff just to like, I don't even know, get shot apparently. But today people were doing it, and I was just like, at first, the person that did it, because it's like a daily thing in the area that I live in, people just are absolutely insane on the road. But I sound like an old man, like, get off my lawn, get off my autobahn. They, I don't know. This first lady that cut me off, I got like, I started speeding up out of like a retaliatory, instinct that was popping into my noggin. And then I was like, whoa, whoa, no, 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 don't do that. And I just slowed down and let her get in front of me. And that's the thing where it's just like, I don't understand why my first reaction is to like do to be like aggressive. And I don't like that about me. And I decided to change that today. And then it just got easier. The more I did it, the more like easier it got. And then it's just easier to let people in. That way they're safe. Or I say, even if they're being total jerks or whatever, just let them in or let them by or that kind of thing. Sometimes it's fun just to go really slow and fuck with them a little bit, but still. As long as you're not brake checking them or something like that, gotta be safe. And everybody's like dealing with crazy stuff. Plus, even those people are just, even if they're awful, they're just, most of the time, I feel like, unless they're scammers trying to brake check you for like insurance, fraud or whatever, um, most of the time people are just, I feel like people are just completely oblivious to how they are when they're out in public because everything is just so fast paced and that people watch you know I was gonna say watch the internet. People watch the internet so much these days that I think that people just go out in public expecting a fight because they expect everybody to be what it looks like on YouTube, like in the YouTube shorts and things like that or whatever, where people are just like constantly like road raging and battling and it's like Ben-Hur out there and stuff. It's just and sure for sure it is like in certain places, but there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I mean, not that YouTube doesn't show those videos too, I guess, but still. I think people just go out there expecting everybody to just be like fighting and battling and stuff. It just doesn't have to be like that. And it's a shame because most of the time these kids are out there, these little children out there are seeing it, and then it just passes on to the next generation. People always think it's like, well, a generation is like 15 years. That's like a different generation. It's like no, generation is like 3 or 4 years now, man. The kids are growing up so fast. And I remember growing up. I remember you it's like you're stagnant for a little bit and then all of a sudden there's just a huge growth spurt in your mind and everything and all of a sudden you're just like a teenager and then all of a sudden they're like prepping you to be an adult and all this and you're trying to please everybody but pleasing nobody. I remember being a kid. That was the hardest thing ever. And it was like being trapped and knowing what I wanted to do with my life already by the age of 12. I was drawing my own comic books and stuff, and I thought I was gonna be a fucking comic book artist. I was sending my stupid comic books to Marvel because, like an idiot, I watched all these cartoons and movies and stuff, and your dreams can come true if you just believe in your dreams and work hard and blah blah blah. And it's just I was sending Stan Lee comic books when I was 12, and this is like back in 1992 or 1991, and they all got rejected. I mean, they weren't that good, but I was only 12. And I was writing and drawing everything, like the story, and I was going like I was like fifth grade and stuff like that, sixth grade. uh, I guess lately I've been thinking about that a lot too, just about fate. Because back then I just assumed like it was fate that or destiny, my destiny that I would become. As a teenager, I was drawing comic books. So I always thought I would be a comic book artist. And then when I was 18, I discovered I was shown somebody gave me a book of Salvador Dali paintings and stuff, and it was just I just nothing was the same after that. But yeah, anywho, poor me, right? It's not the case at all. I I've always too, I've always been like jealous and I'm a human, so I want and I crave like certain things that, are more vain or egotistical than other things, but I always have known that if and when anything ever if I was able to make a living off of my art when the time comes, I'll be ready for it. And I just assume that I'm just not ready or I haven't done plus really good about self-sabotaging, but at the same time, I mean, it takes time just to get your stuff out there. Plus, I'm not even on the internet anymore except for YouTube, so that makes it a little bit more interesting. I don't advertise. This is the closest thing I have to my advertising my work. And I guarantee you it doesn't work. Hey, this guy. How's it going? That was your little introduction. Scrolling down a river. Left a down, see there? Left, I'm pretty sure he says left a good job in the city. Isn't that what he says? And then he says working for the man every night and day. And he's talking about pumping propane. So how is that a good job in the city? How is that? I guess back then, you could like retire when you were 25, working at a gas station in the late 60s, 70s. You could work at a gas station for 6 months and retire and buy a fucking 100,000 acres in Montana, or buy a town in I was gonna say Missoula, but you could just buy Missoula. Anyhow, but no, it's the avocado toast and those darn iPhones you kids are buying. That's why rent is 5 times as high as it was back when I was 18. My first studio apartment, I was just talking with somebody about this, but my first studio apartment that I lived in, I've only like lived in two. I mean, to make it sound like I've lived in a lot. But what was it? 285. It was 285 a month for actually a pretty decent studio in Grants Pass, Oregon. And then the next studio I lived in, and it was actually the next time I lived by myself, was in 2023, I think. Yeah. And it was my rent was, it was in Portland, Oregon, and it was 1200 a month for a basement studio. But it was a badass studio too. A lot of people probably wouldn't think so, but I certainly did. There was a tunnel underneath the ground, underneath the basement, that led to the Great Pillars of Hell. There was a big sign on the door that said, "Do not enter, because this is hell. And you don't want any part of this," said the sign. And I can't read, so I just walked right through. Ended up going on a wacky adventure, but I'm back now and everything's fine. I know, retire. Good lord. Your first house was 12K? Dang. What? 75 bucks? Dang. See, that's when America was great. That was when frickin' Richie Riches were paying more in taxes. So us little poriorios could have a shot at life and like actually maybe consider buying a house. I know it's not that simple and stuff, but I mean, it's crazy to me that the national minimum wage has been stagnant for 40 years pretty much, but inflation has gone thousands of percent higher than, I'm not doing the math right, but you know what I mean. I think there's nowhere in the country where you can work work a full-time job at minimum wage and afford a one-bedroom apartment. There's nowhere in the country anymore where that is a thing. That just does not exist anymore. It's like first everybody cheers as they take our, everything away from us. They just because, oh, I can get it on Amazon now. They take away our bookstores. They're gonna take away next. They're gonna take away our laundromats, and then people are gonna be like, oh, it's okay. Amazon will come over and pick up my laundry, and then uh, it'll smell better when they return it because it'll be pine fresh. And then that's when I come out of the woodwork and I say, wait, okay, how do I sign up for that? I don't have no, just playing. I actually don't have an Amazon account. Not that that's a big deal, like it matters. I'll probably be forced to get one anyways someday. But if there's one thing I'm holding out doing is buying into that or like buying anything off that shitty ass bullshit. I don't blame anybody else for doing it. But I just have these weird, stupid standards. I hate shopping at Walmart too, but I have to go there sometimes for certain things. So it's like you gotta tickle the toes of the beast, but you can't let the beast rule the day. That's all. I know. That's what I'm saying. This guy, I'm right there with you. That's what makes me sick about this country too. Is just how people are pandered to from both sides of the aisle, constantly for decades, to where they just have no idea what choice really is or like what standards are anymore, or what sides, or where their political figures even stand as far as like the real stuff that is happening in this world, behind closed doors, and because it's all a show, and it's despicable, and I wish that people would understand how much power they have, and work together instead of just allowing these pissants to you know keep us all separated, and gotta keep them separated. I mean, that's the thing too, where I'm not even on Facebook anymore. I'm not on Instagram. I don't even watch the news. I listen to podcasts about esotericism, and like Carl Jung and all these things now, and I'm just like trying to like relearn and retrain my brain how to look at the world from a different angle. And it once you start cracking that egg, it's addicting, and you just want to keep going. And because it does take focus, and it does take work and patience, and it's really hard. Because if there's one thing that the powers that be want you to be, is impatient consumers, little robots, mindless little zombies. They thrive on it, and they like will laugh about people behind their backs, but then people don't, like I was saying, they don't know their own power. The people have the power, and yet we don't go on. I mean, I know people do go on strike for like minimum wage and all that kind of stuff, but if we really came together and took on, because it's really, if you look at it too, it's all about donors and who has the bottom. Who That's why they made corporations people. That way they could vote, and they don't vote with a check mark. They vote with money, and they have donors. And the politicians talk to the donors before they talk to the people, believe me. And that's what people don't understand either. A lot of the time, they just assume they're on the right side. And I'm here to tell you that you're not. There's their side, and then there's us. It's them and us. I think there's a Pink Floyd song about it. Hey, we just said that. You just crazy. You said that 2 minutes ago. Us and them. Yep. I appreciate your words. It's a sick nation, and it's a sick world that we live in too, and everything's lopsided and out of balance. And war is the name of the is the what is it, the word I'm looking for, the phrase? It's the name of the day. What's the expression? but it's the bottom line is money, war, destruction, and gaining other people's land or taking their resources and allowing corporations to go in there and just take whatever they want and do whatever they want because they're in a different country and they don't have to play by the rules like humanitarian rules or anything like that. They don't have to follow certain human rights rules. They've been doing that for fucking decades too. And that's how you get your fucking iPhones. And people are just like, I want to change the world, but I like my iPhone 75. I want my iPhone 76, so I don't mind if some people are slaves. But, again, I'm not one to talk. For all I know, the fucking socks I'm wearing were made by slaves. The fish that we eat are caught by slaves. Even if it's not, the typical slave, it's, the ones who are in debt, are debt slavery, which is another scheme that they pull over the working class and the poorest and the most vulnerable while allowing the most wealthy, destructive people get away with murder and tax fraud, shipping all their jobs overseas and all their money overseas and leaving us with scraps and then watching us fight over it and laughing at us. What a world. Anyways, what do you guys think of the art? Exactly, this guy. I agree. I mean, that's the thing too with me, where it's like as long as there's one of us that are enslaved, none of us are free. And freedom comes too with being able to be true to yourself and be honest with yourself. Obviously, there's different kinds of freedoms, different tiers, but for the most part, once you realize there's the perspectives, the truth perspectives, So I always think about my dreams, where my dreams are. I get to be everybody in my dreams, and I can jump into different bodies and stuff essentially, and I can be all these people at the same time, looking at the same thing or whatever, and feeling the feelings of these people. These people have lives that I'm jumping into. I can feel them, and I know them, and my dreams are so powerful that when I wake up, I shudder and I have to it's like I have to come to it again because I'm just so. It's hard to differentiate sometimes which is which. My dreams are very powerful, and I wish it's an interesting time to be dreaming so hard again too. But anywho, I'll keep you posted on that. But I think empathy is what I was trying to say too, where I feel the pain of. I know it sounds cheesy, and I can't articulate it, so I probably shouldn't say too much, but I think a lot about the suffering and the pain and everything that's going on in the world, and so much so that it used to eat me alive, and I was able, once I quit drinking, it was a lot easier to get a handle on that side of me and calm down, because what I've been trying to realize and focus on is the fact that I am it's hard to explain. I'm not explaining it very well. I'm sorry. Hey, thanks for the comments. I appreciate that. It's like I feel like I have to put myself in other people's shoes that are suffering in order to feel in order to change it, in order to help. I have to be able to feel that pain, and there was a long time in my 20s, and pretty much my 20s, because I quit drinking when I was 31. When I just put my body through the ringer and just tried to destroy myself because I felt like I had to, like I never had like a rites of passage or something like that, and I just had to put myself through these tests And it was also this thing where it's like, why me? Like, how come I'm alive? How come I get to live and all these other people are fucking dying? You know, that kind of stuff just will eat you alive. You know, it gets easier to accept life. Oddly enough, the older you get. I'm 45 now, and it's gotten, even just in the past few years, it's gotten so much easier just to let go of things. But it when you start letting go, it starts hanging on harder too, and it lashes out, and it, whatever it is that you're hanging on to, it'll lash out hard. So you got to be careful because it's like a whiplash. But for me, I have my outlet. I have art. I have music. I'm by the ocean now, so I go to the ocean a lot and I think about things. I listen to the waves, the music of the sea. Oh. Yep, I agree. And that's another lesson too, where it's like I'm learning how to, appreciate myself and who I am and not be afraid of who I am. And not necessarily say fuck them, but realize that I am them and they're me, whether they like it or not. Because that's how powerful my mind is. When you can start controlling the world around you, like I've been saying, here and there, but like when I lucid dream, you can control the world. And our brains in this world are pretty darn powerful as well. And there's this, these sayings, it's like, oh, I forget the saying, I'm so tired right now. But just that perception and is everything, and how you perceive things and how you take things in and how you push them back out into the world, it's everything. And it all starts inside of you and it comes from the inside out. And I think that's been because before it was always like all this external stuff, all these external things that I wanted and I needed or whatever. Don't get me wrong, I still like stuff, but more and more it's just that I've been finding it so much more interesting to explore my mind and to find out who I really am underneath all these masks and all these wigs. So, and all these years, because now it's been a good chunk of time and I can really just look back and ponder and be like, oh yeah, no, I fucked up there, or whatever. You can like go back and learn now. I don't want to make the same mistakes again, because I make mistakes because I get lazy or I get used to somebody, like in a relationship you get used to them and you just get lazy with certain things, or my anxiety will literally force me to do things that I don't want to do, or self-sabotaging, so it's important to stay positive. Yeah, that's for sure. Anyhow, I better get going, everybody. I'm gonna go lay down. I moved into a house 4 days ago, and then the last 2 days I moved back out of this house, so I'm like super tired. I moved all of my stuff today, basically, by myself. After moving it into this place 4 days ago or 5 days ago, so it's just I'm so freaking tired, and not that that's your fault, but it's the truth. But it feels good to be back home, and I'm with my aunt and my cat and my dog, or I guess my dog, dog again. So, anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it, and happy St. Pirates Day. Arr! You know how it is. And all that stuff. God be with you. And I love you. All that stuff. Whatever God you worship. Or if it's the God of nothing, hey, that's cool too. Anyways, y'all be careful now. You be safe. Thanks for the kind words, everybody. Thanks, this guy.
Hi, Savage. You be careful, Savage.